What's the front page of the Daily Nation today?
Reckless talk.
Reckless talk. Yeah, Jano, take us through it.
Right. Loose cannons. With just over 2 years to the next general election, some politicians associated with the Kenya Kwanza administration have started sowing seeds of discord with utterances about rigging the 2027 presidential contest. Now, the IBC team has denounced their claims, while opposition leaders want action taken on offenders. Earlier on, Eric talked about the different people who are profiled on the front page of the Daily Nation and what they've said. I'll quickly go over it again. Baringo North MP, Joseph Makilap, Dr. Ruto must stay. Let it not be that when a leader comes from our region, we say he must go, but when another region, no one pushes such an agenda. Those online critics shouting Ruto must go, whether they jump, go down, or move sideways, Ruto is not going anywhere. Even if his votes won't be enough, we will add them. That's Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi. Wajir woman Representative Fatuma Jeho, when it comes to the president, we say 2 terms. We're just waiting for the ballot. Even if we don't have enough votes, we'll steal for him. That's no secret. And finally, Tiati MP William Kamket. If they joked around, you know, I come from the county of 24 years. Baringo County knows how to manufacture a president to survive for 24 years. If they joke, we might even extend past the 2 terms. And that goes on page 4. And then very quickly there, a promise by Ethicon. Upon assuming office, the IBC chairperson, Erastus Ethicon, vice chairperson Fahima Abdallah, and the commissioners who are listed. And this is what Francis Adwal pledged to deliver credible elections, or rather they all pledged to deliver. And he said, my first and foremost loyalty is to the people of Kenya who hold sovereign power under Article 1 of the Constitution. The power is exercised through your vote. Fellow Kenyans, your vote is your voice and your future. And yes, it counts. Mr. Ethicon said during his swearing in on Friday.
You know, if you just follow what's gaining traction, is this talk of politicians speaking as if elections are just this thing. It's a game. Hii game tunashinda. Hii tunachapa 3-0.
Yeah.
Hii tunachapa 3-0. Ngoja hata deal na ref. You know? It's that loose talk. And if you actually engage with them, to them, it's just, at IABC, what's the problem with IABC? Why are they saying that we should shut up? What's wrong with people? We're just saying things. I mean, this is how we engage. This is how we play the game. This is just how we roll, you know? So there's that one side of how they're speaking and how they roll. These politicians that you've just quoted now, that are quoted on the Daily Nation today, are just few of politicians in this country who have had this kind of, who have said this kind of statements before. Every time we get into an election, and they start stirring up the waters, and they'll have this loose talk, and to them, it's just loose talk. Okay? Where's the problem, Maria?
The rhetoric is the problem. One, it could be loose talk that is just loose talk and it ends there. It could also be that they are just giving us their game plan straight up, just saying kama votes hazitatosha tutaongeza. That in itself, coming from leaders, that's the Kapseret MP, the Wajir woman rep, the Baringo North MP, the Tiati MP, coming from leaders, national leaders, because they are MPs from and MPs of, right? Is incredibly careless. So the rhetoric is what is very, very problematic. One, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission should be somewhere here. DCI should be taking statements from all these people, because what do you mean you're going to stuff ballots and you're going to steal votes? That is very problematic. It's either fear-mongering or having people believe that they are untouchable or that the law doesn't apply to them. Like shida ni nyingi. You can go point by point by point.
There are very many issues that, you know, just stick out.
Well, one of the things I always have a problem with is don't lie. Every president has had a must go. Let me profile. 2014, 7th July, actually, thousands of people rallied in Kenya's capital to criticize what they call President Uhuru Kenyatta's failure to improve the lives of ordinary people. And this was more than a year after he came to office. Kenya's main opposition group organized a protest on Monday in Nairobi, and it hinted it would carry out mass protests after the government refused to comply with its demands. Today, we're telling the president, if he's not working, he must go. 2014, Uhuru Kenyatta. And this was Senator Boni Kalwale at the time. So
Right.
that's 2014. We've already seen there's a must go there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue. 2009. This was a very passionate article by a political scientist. And he said, the problem with our country is President Kibaki. That is why the story of our lost fight against corruption just won't go away. The president has let us down, and Kibaki must go. 2009. We're threading.
Who said this?
This was, let me see, his name was just here. It was Barack Muluka, right? 2009. Then let's take it all the way back to this article on the BBC. This was in 1999. And it talked about Africa poll says Moi should go. This was in 2002. There was a survey. An overwhelming majority of Kenyans believe President Moi should not stand for re-election when his constitutional period in office ends. The results of a survey published in the Daily Nation, it said here, will come as a blow for loyalists. Man, I'm trying to transport myself back to that time. The Nation Media Group polled 3,000 people of all ages and social classes across the country's 8 provinces. 87% of those interviewed said President Moi should step down at the end of his 4th term in 2002. So, when Baringo North MP, Dr. Ruto must stay, let it not be that when a leader comes from our region, we say he must go, but from another region, no one pushes such an agenda. So this is always my ick, is that you twist history and context, and then you incite that ethnic tone. When I'm like, no, every president in this country has faced a must-go moment, and it didn't matter what region they were from.
Yeah.
It just happens to be at this point, this is what's been faced. So this is not only false and reckless talk, it's also a lie. And so that's just compounding the problem of already you're treating the elections like a PR exercise. You're provoking, you're inciting, and then you're saying, wait, how come every time it comes to us, you people don't know? We've shown you, and history has shown you, and there's evidence.
You know what's also interesting is that in every administration, there are those who are in support of the administration, and they always feel like they're the ones who are being picked on.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
In Uhuru's time, Uhuru's people felt like they're being picked on. In Kibaki's time, Kibaki's people felt like they're being picked on. In Moi's time, same. In Kenyatta One's time, the same. They all feel like they're being picked on. But if you look at our history of election management in this country and rigging of elections, there was a time in this country where you used to vote in primary school A and the counting happens in secondary school C. Okay?
Yeah.
So all the votes, all the ballots from all the polling stations, polling centers, would then be put in a GK Land Rover and transported for counting and tallying. And that is where the stuffing of ballots used to happen. So in between the moment when tumefunga watu wamaliza kuvote hapa kwa this primary school and we are taking all these ballots so that we can go and open them and count, things would disappear, ballots would be stuffed, ballots would arrive somewhere, 2 days later, and so on and so forth. This is where rigging used to take place, which informed the decision that everything happens in one spot. You vote in this classroom. It does not even leave the classroom to go to the dining hall. All the streams in this school go to the... No, nothing leaves that room. You vote in that classroom, close the classroom, start counting, start tallying, make the announcement there.
Right.
So we ensure that there is no interference. That informed it. Then there was the era when, all this Mlolonga, and we were told about the Mlolonga voting of 1988, where, we're not even putting votes in a box. Why are we putting votes in a box and we have people?
Right.
Just line behind your candidate.
Stand behind your person.
Yeah. Wale wana support Mariam, simama nyuma ya Mariam. Wale wana support Janet, simama nyuma ya Janet. We count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But walikuwa na count kama vile tuko hapa kwa studio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Mark, as you go.
Yes. depending on the candidate they want. That's
Yes.
they are rigging
Oh, boy.
openly.
Yeah.
It's not even that he's stuffing ballots or they are openly rigging an election. Many improvements in our electoral laws, which ensure that now all those things are not happening. They're happening in, we are voting and counting in one place. But the talk of manipulating an election has not stopped just because we stopped, transporting ballots or we stopped counting human beings behind a human being. The talk by politicians of playing monkey games with our election has always been there. I look at the politicians and say, okay, so these guys are just being nonsensical. But I turn back now on us as citizens and ask, why do we allow? These politicians who've been quoted here were not speaking, were not tweeting.
No.
These politicians who've been quoted here were speaking in a public event.
And cheered.
And they were cheered by people who went. That means that there are people who actually, as citizens, we think, come let's chase a game, chezeni please.
Yeah.
That we as citizens are, in a way, if it works in the favor of a candidate that I'm in support of, it doesn't matter. It's okay. You do what you need to do for our guy to win. Right? My miss me with that today is on us as citizens. This reckless talk, it doesn't happen in confined spaces. This reckless talk does not happen on, in family homes, at dining tables. This reckless talk happens in the public. And the public sit back, they cheer, and then we go home and react. Ay, lakini hawa wanaongea mbaya, ama politicians wanaongea mbaya. What do you mean? What are we doing about it? Are we sitting back and just letting them talk and not holding them to account at that point when they're talking, and then going back into our homes and saying, no, somebody should take action. No, NCIC should, these people should be arrested. I said, no. We have a role to play.
Okay. I agree. Off the bat, I agree. And I think I've said it several times. We have the capacity for social jails. We don't have to listen. We don't have to cheer. We don't have to attend rallies. We don't have to be anywhere near that. So I agree with Eric. We are part of the problem. If someone can say they're going to be stuffing ballot boxes, basically, they're going to steal votes, and we still hear a jeer. So as much as we say we want better governance, we want, we need, do we really? That's a great question. Tujiangalie.
Yeah.
But I'll give credit where it's due. There's a shift, and a big one, in how we treat politicians. The holier than thou kind of, you cannot be touched, we don't do that anymore.
It's still there in some places.
In some places.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
True. But in others, not really.
It's a
So
lot
it's
less.
increasingly changing.
It's increasingly changing. Kipchumba Murkomen said, shoot them. And people were like, immediately no, right? You heard the crowd react to that. The story that was carried about people being paid to attend the launch of affordable housing, it's because no one wants to go. And again, mobilization has been there since the beginning of time. But how many do you need to mobilize? I think that number is getting higher and higher because nobody wants to show up and be associated with this government. So we're changing, we're moving. We're not there, but I think we are moving in the right direction. I do agree with you. There's a big problem if someone can say, I come from the county of 24 years, we can manufacture a president for 24 years and people clap. Yeah, I think that one, tukona shida for sure, but I do see the progress.
Yeah, this progress is changing. I think it can't really evolve if people still have that feeling that, woe unto me. Because that's to play on that emotion, it's very hard to shift that because it's a very believable thing. And that's my huge issue among the many others with this, is that you are making it personal for people who hadn't even made it personal before. It's a very misplaced fake reminder, and then it just sits, and then you're like, oh, actually bet. Whatever happens, I'm behind him because it's true. We're always left behind. We deserve this. Nobody's going to treat us fairly. So as long as that rhetoric sits with people, then it gets harder to change. It makes it easier for them to clap and say, yeah, I want to feel seen.
Yeah.
I want to feel heard. He's resonating with me because I don't feel seen and heard. I believe him. And I think that's also what they're going to play on over the next few years, is certain communities will feel undervalued and they won't feel seen and heard. And then sometimes common sense will go. They'll find themselves cheering because they want to be seen. For them, that's a version of representation. It's misplaced, but it's a version of representation.
How do we nip that in the bud?
Exactly. Now that's where I'm at. Hapo ndio nimekwama. I think it's reminding people about the truth. It's about reminding people about history. It's reminding people on all the times and ways that manipulation, how that has ended. And maybe after the break, I know I had some examples even on the continent where there was an attempt to manipulate an election, but what happened in the end. I'm hoping, it may sound simplistic, but sometimes I hope that having and hearing those lessons maybe could shift. It sounds simplistic, but I don't know how else, Mariam and Eric. Now, beyond just reminding people, you know.
Let's learn from history, actually. I'd love that once we get into the break. I've been very, in my history era lately, because the importance of understanding where we've come from, to understand where we're going, and that nothing is unique to you, nothing is unique to Kenya. The challenges we're facing, they're not new to the world. They have happened before throughout history. Yesterday was Bastille Day in France, right? It's basically their national day. Commemorates the storming of Bastille after the killing of someone who was a darling of the people, and then they stormed the Bastille. Does that sound familiar? Gee, nothing is new. So let's learn from history. And then I'm like, also, let's listen to the people who've been here before. I think there's a clip that went viral of not Wafula Buke, but not Cyprian as well. Whose clip went viral?
Not Jeru.
It was in Jeru's, yes, it was in Jeru's. And I saw, and he talked about the need for organization at this point that we are in, the need to move to organization and to have leaders and things like that. And the rhetoric was just, no, we are leaderless. And I'm like, at least take the time to watch the full clip and to listen to people who've been here before.
Let it land fully.
Yes, let it land fully before. Thank you.
You're going to come and thread for us history of elections.
Yes.
from the time when things, because I like what Mariam is saying is, even I'm fully in history era, but maybe it is time to just do a very quick timeline and reminder of just the election processes. And then passion, guys.
Right, we've all knocking
things over. And basically what happened after. Because I think that's the bit that I'm like, you don't want to bring a country to its knees because of your tongue. And let's remember that it almost got there because of elections that people did not feel were verified. Literally. So when you're talking like this, I'm like, were you not here? Like, have you not been here before? And
or are they amplifying what the people feel? Because, again, when the people cheer, is it what they're feeling? Like you said, is it that this is at least I'm feeling heard? Like, I actually agree with this sentiment that we are being picked on, right? Because our leader, the leader comes from my tribe, that we are being picked on. Or is it a fallacy that has been spread that was easy to believe, that it's being picked on? And then this is the role then of those in the society who can discern and tell what's better and what's not, to actually stand up and speak. We're going to that break, but as we go there, let me read what Charles Ndongo is saying. We as citizens have the responsibility of calling out the politicians when they're wrong. Hata mimi nimekwama hapo, Janet, because on the one hand, we call them out. On the other, we cheer wrong knowingly. I wait for the day when citizens will do a Martha Karua moment and walk out on politicians talking nonsense. Actually, we are seeing it happening in very many other things. We see politicians saying, no. Yoni uongo bwana. Yoni uongo, you know. Watu si wajenga bwana. We see these things happening in political events where people tell our leader, no, what you've said, that's not right. So why are they not doing the same here when leaders say, so on and so forth? Why are they not saying it? Let's take a break. And we want to hear from you as well. You can call us and all our numbers. Mariam, please remind them the numbers to call, the numbers to send a WhatsApp Nation video, our WhatsApp video.
Right. To call us 0719-038-858, 0719-038-858 to save to Fixing the Nation. I'm a good vibes. Andika tu kwa simu. Alafu kuna tupigia tukijisikia. That's the number. And of course, to send us your WhatsApp Nation is 0112-500-400. 0112-500-400. I know he'll be at the bottom of your screen in just a minute, but we're going on a short break. We'll be right back. Done. Ivo tu.
Umesikia? Uliandika yako?
Nitaenda tuchukue hiyo clip.
Weke AI.
I know.
Yeke unaambia nini AI weka uso yangu juu ya huyu.
Amlioto, let's do this thing. Cut that clip and then just put bandika nini. Yeah. Right. We're having a conversation around reckless talk by politicians ahead of the election. Even the IEBC had to come out immediately and say, hey, you know what? No, this is wrong. This is not the right thing to do. And we'll be quoting the IEBC statement shortly. But just to contextualize, let's start with this latest one, which is this MP from the woman rep of Wajir and what she said. It's just been doing the rounds on social media. Let's play it again.
Tunangoje tu debe iletwe, hata kama hatutakuwa na votes tutamuibia, hiyo si siri.
With a smile on her face.
Yeah. The longer part of this is, ikikuja, when it comes to the president, tunasema 2 terms, ndio? Tunasema 2 terms. So we are waiting for the ballot, tunangojea debe iletwe, na hata kura zisipotosha, tutamuibia hiyo si siri. So the whole context of it. And the people cheered, they laughed and they moved on with it. What's that all about?
Yeah, what is that all about? Is it also just there's no repercussions, real repercussions anymore? Because this is now where the IBC needs to really flex its muscle, is to make it so that people are just completely afraid of saying anything else. There was other utterances. 2022, Moses Kuria said, we have the numbers, no need to convince anyone. 2021, David Murada, the deep state will decide. And then for Skasudi, it says a series of inflammatory remarks.
A series.
Please specify which one you want here.
Quite a number.
A series of inflammatory remarks.
So what does it say also? That you have the audacity to say that. So we do need to question the entirety of our system, the entirety of IBC. I know you've just started IBC. I know Meanza to say intro is full. And there has to be, implications for this. Otherwise, this is July of 2025. You know how heated it can get a year from now.
Yeah.
You're just going to keep turning up the heat.
Yes.
So this has to be cut off now. It has to be nipped now. But there's a truth that citizens need to internalize. They need to decide which truth they want to internalize. Am I really invisible? Or am I just somebody who actually has the power to cast my ballot and it can be seen and heard? That decision has to be personal. And as long as it's the previous one, the one of I'm invisible, then you're just stoking it and turning up the heat.
Right.
And this time it was the woman rep in Wajir with a relatively, it wasn't a massive crowd. Next year it's an even bigger one. It's a mammoth crowd and people are cheering.
If maybe there's one constitution amendment that I would go out some 11 asubuhi to vote for, maybe it would be one where we insert it in the constitutions where MPs can't come and tinker with it even later. Somewhere that says that any political player who makes any statement around an election shall not participate in that election.
Makes any statement around an election?
Yes, any statement. Don't even say IBC is good. Don't say IBC ni mzuri. Don't say IBC ni mbaya. Don't say...
Because any statement is co-opting.
Tunaenda debe. Usiseme tunaenda debe 2027?
Tunaenda debe 2027 is sawa. Leave it at that point. Anything that starts, like giving a commentary about the election, out.
Okay.
In fact, on that day of the voting, uwe mahali tumekufungia ndani na something like that.
Yeah.
Because all these things, it's politicians talking. And we've got context about it. We have had it in the entirety of our history. Let's come to 2007. when you had an election in 2007.
Yep.
It was a very charged election in 2007. 2007 was not just happening in 2007. It started happening in 2004.
Okay, 4.
In 2004, people were in Bomas, and they were having these conversations around the Katiba, around an MOU that was not honored, around devolution or whatever we want to call it, but just devolving power, whether you're taking it to regions and so on and so forth. And the proposals that had been put there by the Yashpal Gai Commission. And there was disagreement in Bomas. There was disagreement that led into 2005 into a heated national political conversation around the Katiba we'd like. We went into a referendum in 2005. After that referendum in 2005, Mwai Kibaki disbanded his cabinet. He formed a new government, and he called it GNU, Government of National Unity. GNU. Some members of NAK were kicked out of government, and they went and formed ODM. They were the campaigners of the orange vote in the referendum. And that campaign started ahead of 2007. There was a lot of reckless talk.
Give the younger viewers some insight. Banana
orange.
Orange, yeah.
So when people disagreed in Bomas, there was those who were in government and led by, they sent the Attorney General Amos Wako to go to Kilifi and work on a draft. Okay? So they disagreed on this product that's coming out of Bomas, which was called a Bomas draft. And government people went to Kilifi and they worked with the Attorney General, worked on a draft constitution. It was called the Wako draft or the Kilifi draft. That is what was subjected to a referendum in 2005.
Right.
Of course, those who are the proponents for what was then the Bomas draft, which had issues like devolution and all, were not going to vote for or campaign for the Kilifi draft, the Wako draft that did not have devolution. And all these things. So the Electoral Commission then had to conduct a referendum. And there were it was a referendum question. Do you support the draft constitution, the Waki draft, the Kilifi draft? If you support it, you go with banana. The symbol on the ballot will be a banana. If you do not support it, the symbol on the ballot will be an orange. And that's where the banana and orange came in. The orange vote carried the day. And that referendum, the draft constitution was defeated. And those that campaigned for the orange are the ones who formed ODM. We went into an election with that kind of charged country, divided country. And as we were going to that election, very many people were really happy with Kivoito, by the way, in 2005. Kivoito ran the 2002 election. He was the best. He did a the Electoral Commission has done a marvelous job. In fact, the best election, the south of Sahara and north of the Limpopo, and so on and so forth. In 2005, the referendum, he did a good job. You see, I mean, look, the will of the people has carried the day. So Kivoito, heading to 2007, you'd assume that Electoral Commission will be
same.
Yeah. The rhetoric that was there in the build-up to that election was a lot of things. It was a lot, one, discrediting the election process, and two, fanning communities against one another. And I will read for you some quotes from the Waki report where, words like, cut the tall trees and so on and so forth were being used in communities, and to trauma doa. Those were messages that were being said in the communities. In terms of elections, people were saying things, these elections already decided. We have our people inside the ECK.
Right.
If they steal our victory, we'll take action. And so on and so forth. The ECK is compromised. We cannot trust them. I am quoting excerpts from what was then created later after 2008 called the Kriegler Commission. It was called the Independent Review Commission on the 2007 general election in Kenya, which was a commission that was created as a result of the peace that was negotiated by Kofi Annan. And that peace said, we are going to audit. Let's audit the election. They created the Kriegler Commission. Let's audit what happened in community animosity and who caused the violence. And they created the Waki Commission. And the Waki Commission in full was called the Commission of Inquiry into Post-Election Violence, CPEV. Okay? It was headed by Justice Philip Waki. The Kriegler Commission was headed by a South African retired judge called Johan Kriegler. And there was another commission that was established called the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission to look at our historical injustices and help us moving forward. Now back to the Kriegler report. He said, this thing, there was so much rhetoric about everybody's trying to say we are going to play around with our election. And then there was so much playing around with that election that when he was asked, so, excuse me, Justice Kriegler, so from what you have audited, who won this election? He said, it's impossible to tell. It's impossible to tell who won the 2007 election because all sides were involved in malpractices. From all evidence in the lead up to the election, from looking at the performance in the PNU strongholds, in the ODM strongholds, it was clear that there was manipulation on all sides. It was impossible to tell. This is the danger of this kind of rhetoric. It diminishes the trust and confidence in the electoral management body and in the election. So that what happens thereafter, people will come with a preconceived mindset. That nyinyi si mlikuwa mmesema mtaiba hii uchaguzi, ndio hii mmeiba hata. Mmeiba. Or nyinyi mlikuwa mnasema mtatutoa, ndio hii sasa mmetutoa. That's what happens. That's the danger of allowing this kind of nonsense to go on.
Thank you. That
100%.
That history. All those, and yeah, you want to say, Mari?
No. I agree. That's how we got there. Where are we trying to head to?
You were fanning those flames. And early, the way Eric captured it wasn't just a year or two, it was 2-3 years before. There's also then an intentionality as to why this rhetoric is being said now. Like, I know that they know what they're doing and saying, right? I think they know the weight of their words. I think they know what can happen. I think they know the timing of it. I don't think anything happens by accident. Sometimes things are said in the heat of a moment, but we witnessed that election, we witnessed what happened after, so why are you fanning those flames? It just doesn't make sense. Nobody benefited from 07, 08. People are still trying to pick up the pieces. People are still IDPs. Like, the pain is still so palpable, you can feel like it happened yesterday. And so here you are again. And I think that's why people are just besides themselves with anger. But like, dude, we've not even, in fact, there has been no truth, justice, and reconciliation. And now you're fanning flames and opening wounds, and then even digging them deep and pouring salt on them and saying, tutaiba.
And you'll speak to people who either got displaced in 2007, 2008, who lost family members, and they'll tell you one of the most painful, most jarring things is seeing political figures who were instrumental in their suffering then, still in power now. That part about justice, just exit out. Because before you even talk about reconciliation, you need to be honest, the truth part. We need to get justice and then get to the reconciliation bit. So then the fact that we haven't healed those wounds and then there's people coming and trying to attempt, more or less the same thing is incredibly dangerous. I'm wondering about, again, the NCIC, the DCI. Haven't heard any summons about this. And when the NCIC commissioner was here, I'm trying to remember.
Dr. Makori.
Yes,
he had a list.
If Oscar Sudi is, yes, he was there several times actually. He was a repeat offender. But then again, what teeth does the NCIC have? Are they beyond having him and calling him and summoning him? And we asked that question again. What next?
It's the structure of the law.
ODPP. Have they then taken up the cases when they're handed a file by the EACC or by the NCIC? Do they prosecute then to the full power? Have the NCIC and the EACC done the proper work to have them, to have like those charges hold water, so that the ODPP then can have charges that again can hold up in court, and then you can say that everyone did their part, so that the case is not dropped for lack of evidence, as we see happen a lot of times.
Yep, I feel like Kenyans are doing their part. And I think a lot of this tension and anger is stemming from the fact that a lot of Kenyans, it's to what you said earlier when we were starting this segment, things are changing. And sometimes in order to get your way, things have to stay the same. Now, if you guys are deciding you're very clever, all of a sudden, you're very clever. All of a sudden, you're very clever. Yeah, people are, sorry, people are awakened and aware.
Right.
People are peeing into civic education, voter rights. We've been following the IBC process. Are you seeing seeing the error
That's
default setting? And I think that's a win. So it has to continue. Now it has to overwhelm this careless rhetoric. There has to be overwhelming push for IBC to do something. Partner with the way you're saying DCI, summons, warn again. Make an example of, because
we're
the
past warnings. Yeah. Now we're
the
making
people of Kenya are saying
Can I ask the question again?
Okay.
Do we have a critical mass of Kenyans who are against this talk?
I think so.
How
I'll
do
say
we
this.
know?
The reason I think so, when you're already at one of these events, whether it's a rally, whether it's a launch of something, my assumption about you, unless it's like a really big national event, right, is that either you are a diehard loyal follower of whoever is coming there, or two, you've been paid to be there. So the cheering isn't indicative of the general feeling on the ground to me. Those are people who are either loyalists, who will cheer at anything, jump, how high, or they've been paid to be there.
All right, but they're there.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So where are these others that are not? First, I'm not completely in agreement that the people who turn up in these meetings are only loyalists or those that have been paid. All right. There are people who are there because they've actually just come because of what the meeting is all about.
True.
And then the bite that we see of this political leader saying this is part of what they said and what they were there to do. So not necessarily, but then this other, so we want to call it the silent majority, or is this majority vocal?
I don't know.
If the argument here is that the majority is against this reckless talk, why is the majority? Is it silent or is it vocal?
That's a great question. I think a lot of people are, and I don't want to use the term fence sitter, I think, yeah.
They're against it without the platform to voice their disagreement.
Yes. No. Or not even without the platform, yes. Or without the onus to they'll just be like, I naliongea vibaya, but beyond that, nothing else.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain that person.
I actually think they want to speak, but look at what's happening to you if you speak. Last year around this time, how alive was the country in breaking down not just the finance bill, but just everything to do with civic rights and civic education and human rights? It was a large majority. Some might say, oh, TikTok and X is, and I'm like, no, it's still a very credible and critical mass. And people were alive with information sharing, etc. Over the year, it has been muzzled. People disappear. People are dying. That has an effect on how vocal people will be. It doesn't mean they don't want to speak. It just means they don't want to lose their life in the process. I think they're there. I just think they feel censored.
So what happens?
What did Rose and Jerry said?
So the vocal
there
majority,
has to be
the vocal majority then carries the day?
No, I think our agency, people shouldn't be afraid of agency. I just think there has to be a groundswell strategic way to have your voice heard. I don't know what the answer is. I think it's definitely got something to do with collaborative technology and innovation. I think it lies there. I don't know. I'm thinking and speaking, but I think Rose insinuated something along the lines of there has to be a clever, strategic, collective way to have our voices and opinions heard, because the way we've been doing it is now being compromised.
We have seen some kind of pressure. So, for example, when such utterances are highlighted in national media, then there's pressure that's being applied from the media front, then that sees action taking place.
Right.
For example, in the last general election, there were several leaders who were summoned by NCIC and DCI and cautioned against their statements. And I think William Kamket was one of them. All right? The other one was Mithika Linturi on some statements that he made while in a campaign rally in, I think it was Wasingishu. Right? And it was covered in the media, it was amplified, and there was so much pushback from the public through the media that, you know, he had to be summoned and statements had to be made by NCIC and so on and so forth. And that helped to quell tensions down. But underground, are there people who are okay with this talk? You know, let's actually face our truth.
Let's face the truth. I think there are people who are okay. I think that population is not as large as you would think. I think by and large, people don't want to hear any nonsense about tampering with elections. Everyone is at their wits' end as far as the economy is concerned, as far as governance, as far as the shrinking civil liberties or lack of. Everyone is at their wits' end, or almost everyone, with the exception of privileged few.
Yeah.
So do I think there's people who are okay with this talk? Absolutely. Do I think they make a critical mass? I don't think so. I think the critical mass is on the other end.
How do we shift those who are not the ones that Eric is focusing on?
Yeah.
Just like what shift is needed? I think once we begin to unlock that, I don't know, I'm being an optimist.
Eric, I know you're being realistic.
Yes.
I'm
You
trying
want
to
us
get to this, and let me give you an example, okay? And this is on the legitimacy of an election. The credibility of an election. Ask people who voted for Raila Odinga in 2022. Did Raila Odinga win that election? And many of those that voted for Raila Odinga will tell you he won that election, it was stolen. Go to 2017, ask the people who voted for Raila Odinga, did he win the election? They tell you he won the election, it was stolen. Same in 2013.
But the 2017 election was nullified, so that argument could hold water. We don't know who won, but it could hold water.
No, we know who won in 2017.
Who won?
Uhuru Kenyatta was declared the winner after the rerun.
Oh, the rerun, yes.
Was clear.
You're talking about the rerun or the first one?
The winner of the election.
You're talking about the first or the second?
Both elections.
See, one was nullified.
One was nullified.
One was nullified.
Yes.
But the one that was nullified was therefore nullified. It's null and void.
That's
we
why
don't count it as the election.
Okay.
The election of 2017 is the one that was declared.
Ayabasi, second one.
Okay. Ask the people who were supporters of Raila Odinga. Was the 2017 election stolen? They'll tell you it was. Did he participate in that election? He said he's not. Was his name on the ballot? It was. Okay. Did they turn up to vote? They didn't. In 2013, the same. You see? And those are people, I'm not saying that, you know, the elections were stolen or they were not. I'm just saying that's a substantial number of people in their millions. If you ask them their perception of the election, they have a negative perception of the election, most likely.
You're saying that as if
Now,
this
this
negative
is about
perception comes
half.
from thin air.
This is about half of the country that has a negative perception of an election. All right? Now, let's continue with this reckless talk. We are basically perpetuating the same. So these people who have a negative perception about an election and they have participated in an election, right? What is it that they ought to do so that then they can claim the next election? So that they can safeguard the next election, and that perception is removed. Because those, plus those that are quiet when this reckless talk is perpetuated, same was up.
I agree with that. I think let's also give the context that these people don't come from nowhere, and their perceptions and their worries don't come from nowhere. Elections, through you've given us the history of people lining up, and we count Janet as 3 people, Eric as 3 people. That's how far we've come as far as elections being stolen. 2007, I don't even want to go into that. Then 2017 nullification also speaks to that, right? So it is upon an electoral body that is communicative and that is steadfast and clear and transparent in its duties. And we spoke about that yesterday with ELOG. Communication, transparency are super key for us to restore the confidence of these people. And you're right, it's about half the population, if not more, that worries that elections are going to be stolen. And that half shifts, because it sometimes depends on, is your person the person being stolen from? That half shifts. So it's upon an independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to do its work and to communicate and to be transparent fully starting from civic education, voter registration, all the way to the elections. Two, the DCI, the EACC, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission all need to take action against people who speak like this.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
we'll find ourselves.
We'll be right back where we started.
That's a good way to sum it up. Seeing that time, Amanda. That's really good. IBC slogan, your vote matters, rigging is not normal. Hipo tu. Rigging is not normal. Aya. Wanze kusema. Far and wide. Rigging is not normal. You know, you start putting it in your, it's not normal, it's not normal, it's not normal.
Rigging is not, before rigging.
Your vote matters. Your vote matters.
Your vote matters.
Yeah.
Rigging is not normal.
You vote to work a tattoo, whatever you need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the next hour, we speak to
the ambassador of Finland to Kenya. His name is Pirkka Tapiola. He'll be here in just a minute. Of course, Ako area, Naskia. Let's talk about international relations. Let's talk about the last 5, 6, 7 years of his tenure and what has been accomplished, what has happened in the diplomatic space over the last few months as we've seen all these statements. Mambo ni mengi. We'll be right back after this.